Hello, this is Max, and today's video is going to start in a teaching about Revelation, Book of Revelation. It's also going to incorporate some other teaching that I've been working on involving the Illuminati card game. I've noticed that there is an awful lot of cards in this game that fit perfectly into the Book of Revelation especially. So I'm going to combine the two. So I hope you enjoy this teaching. So I'm going to start off in Revelation chapter 6. Most people are familiar with the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Maybe you've been taught various different things about them. I'm hoping I can give you a new insight on how to look at this, as I was introduced to it years ago. I've studied the Book of Revelation, probably read it well over 100 times. So it's, you're into the world stuff. Most people think that the white horse in Revelation, the Book of Revelation, is the revealing of the Antichrist. Now, I don't necessarily think that that's true anymore, but I find it interesting that most people put the personage of the Antichrist onto the white horse, but they can't seem to fit any other person to the other three horsemen. So does that make sense to put the personage of the Antichrist into one, and the other three are just what? Inanimate? So anyway, so go ahead and go forward. The real teaching is that these four horsemen actually are four sociopolitical religious systems that are all existing today, that they've been doxing for power for quite some time. And that's Catholicism, capitalism, communism, and Islam. Okay? Now you can say Islamism and give them all an ism. So they're all teaching about, the end of the world. The first one is the white horse. And go ahead and start in Revelation 6:2. And behold, I saw a white horse. Okay. And the white is the color of the Pope. Okay. And he that sat on him had a bow. Okay. A lot of people don't realize this, but the sign of the bowman is actually the same sign as the peace sign. It's two fingers pulled back and aiming as if you're pulling a bow. It's a salutation. The Pope has a staff with a bowed crucifix on it to portray that they are in fact the white horse rider. And if you read their catechism and stuff like that, they believe this. They carry a bowed staff. They use the two-fingered salute. Many of the popes do. You will see them in their paintings. You can look back to old Renaissance paintings and even from the ones from the Middle Ages, and you'll see everybody from Jesus on the cross holding out two fingers in both hands. Mary, all the saints. So they know they're basically saying we're the bowmen. So many of them and a crown was given unto him, and all popes are given a crown to wear, signifying that they are a king. Okay. They used to have a crown. Used to have the phrase, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this correct, vicarius filii Dei, which adds up in Roman numerals that are made up in it, adds it to 666. And there's an awful lot of words in Latin that they use that adds to 666. The Protestants made this well known during the Protestant Reformation, and it became such bad publicity for the Catholic Church that they stopped wearing the hat. So they decided to stop wearing the mark of the beast in advertising. And he went forth conquering and to conquer. Catholics have been conquering through war and peace for 1,500 years. They try to be peaceful, but we've seen times of war that they have, including things like the Spanish Inquisition. Okay, so next one here, communism. Okay, and there went out another horse that was red. Well, red is the color of communism. Red Russia, red China. Red is the color of blood, and many of them have red in their flags. Or I guess it used to. Obviously, Russia has changed their flag since then. But and power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Red is okay. Like I said. So communism has killed hundreds of millions in the past century. China has killed between 60 and 100 million under Mao, and of course I believe under other regimes, but they've killed up to 100 million, some people say, estimates. Russia around 40 to 60 million, Cambodia 2 million, North Korea 2 million, Africa about 1.7 million, Afghanistan about 1.5 million, eastern countries of Russia that were part of the USSR about 1 million, Vietnam, about 1 million. Latin America, about 150,000. So, I mean, any questions? This is part of the international communist conspiracy. They even keep Lenin's body on display as if he's some sort of god. They've brought fear and loathing to the world, and a church of violence, which is basically, man as God in communism. There's no God, but it's still a religion, so they worship themselves. So, and the next one is capitalism under the black horse. And lo and behold, a black horse. Black is the color of capitalism. When a company says they're doing poorly, they say they're in the red. But when a company is doing good and making a profit, they say they're in the black. This is the reason why the most popular shopping day of the year is Black Friday. You ever wonder why they call it Black Friday? Well, that's why. The reason for this is that on that day that many companies begin to make their profit for the year. So many companies are in the red until they hit Black Friday. That's why they're desperate to make money on that day. So black suits, black ties, black shoes, black limos, you get the point. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. So you got here a market manipulation, pair of balances. Wall Street is involved in this. Savings and loan scams, the Federal Reserve. These are all part of the black horse system. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. Wheat and barley are, in fact, commodities that any country are vital for any country that are not just staples of food for people, but animals as well. A spike in their prices would cause a global chaos in the capitalistic stock market. A lot of people don't realize this. The United States is actually the breadbasket of the world. We produce more food, particularly grain, for other countries than anybody else. So it would cause a new world order, world hunger. When you see world hunger around, imagine if the prices skyrocketed. It would be far worse. But on the other hand, we're the same company that continues to push out frankenfood, fake food, and we don't even begin to understand the true harm we're causing to ourselves with that stuff. And it says, and see thou that hurt not the oil and the wine. So apparently oil and wine prices don't change in this. Western capitalistic countries are the biggest producers of wine in the U.S., and France being the top. Oil is by far the number one most important commodity in capitalism. Without it, free trade in the world would come crashing to a standstill. Oil is required for energy and for transportation of goods and services, for sea, air, and land. And oil is backed by the petrodollar, which is the U.S. dollar, the king of capitalism. So, not only is the United States capitalism involved in the oil companies, black oil, if you want to go even further, but also in alcohol, particularly wine. So, now the next one here, this one confused people for the longest time. People think of the pale horse, they think of a pale, sickly green horse, but most people don't realize this, but the green horse, the word pale there in Greek is actually the Greek word chloros, from which we get the word chlorophyll, which is the green chemical or the stuff that causes the green color in trees and plants and grass. And things like chlorine gas has a light green color to it. So, yes, it was the only time that they changed it to pale because, well, there are white horses and there are red horses and there are black horses in the world, but there is no green horses. There's no green horses. So they, the writers, and particularly King James, they said, well, you know what, no one's going to understand green horse. It's not going to make sense. So they changed it to pale to make it a little bit more understandable. But so Islam is a pale horse. Then it said the fourth part, it looked, behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And he was given power over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword and fire, sword and hunger and death and the beasts of the field. Islam's color is green. Their religion glorifies death. Believe in jihad. Believe the only way a Muslim can have complete assurance of paradise is to die as a martyr. And this ideology will only send them to hell. We need to pray for them to find Jesus. Power is given unto them of a fourth part of the earth, killed with sword, death, hunger. Currently, a quarter of the world's population is Muslim. The sword is the symbol of Islam. When you don't believe that, go look at their flags. Muslim countries suffer the worst famine than any other countries. Again, look around. All Muslim countries, the vast majority of people are poor and starving. It says, now it says to kill with sword, famine, and death. Well, how do you kill with death? That seems kind of redundant. I'm going to kill you with death. Well, what's that? But if you study the history of the Black Death, the death, or bubonic plague, you'll realize that the disease came from Muslim countries into Europe. And it transferred on ships it was a disease that was on the fleas of the rats that were on these ships. And that's what this plague came from, but it came from Muslim countries. And the beasts of the field, Muslim countries typically live with the livestock, which leaves them open to disease from beasts. So, bad deal there. We move on to the fifth seal. It says, and when he opened the fifth seal, I saw the altar of souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, just and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? This is a sign of martyrdom. So, we see here, we get a card for martyrs. There'll be a purge. They're going to look for, if you don't believe and don't bow down to the beast, you will be killed. Revelation makes that pretty clear. So there will be a purge of anybody who does not follow and worship the beast. This will mainly be Christians, but I can see other people who are firm in their beliefs of whatever religion that may be, Islam, Judaism, whatever, that won't bow either. Like, no, I'm not bowing to a false god, which particularly those two religions won't bow to false gods either, so they may not conform either, so they'll be purged. You got the New World Order here. It says tax reform. Kind of an empty thing there, but the fact that it's showing a guillotine and people's heads people being beheaded, and we know that that's the way people will be killed during the tribulation. We also know that ISIS likes to cut people's heads off, but the main thing it seems that the Antichrist will do is behead people for not worshiping, being killed for political correctness. Political correctness is so out of control these days, it's ridiculous. I don't see, again, political correctness, what does that mean? Well, he believes in Jesus, or he believes in Muhammad, or whatever, so let's kill them because they don't follow the worship of our god Lucifer. So, okay, well, we'll move on to the next one here. The sixth seal. When we opened the sixth seal, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heavens fell to the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind, and the heavens departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island removed out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and rich men, and chief captains, and mighty men, and every bondman, and every freeman, hid themselves in the dens of the rocks of the mountains, and said in the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath has come, and who should be able to stand? So this is a picture of the second coming, and with it comes a giant earthquake that rocks the earth. I put here also, we got here an earthquake projector. Now, some people claim that the HAARP is able to produce earthquakes, and I've seen the scientific proof of how that supposedly works. Again, I'm not going to confirm or deny this. I don't know. Maybe we do, but I thought that it was interesting that this card's in there, so perhaps we do have such things as an earthquake projector. The next thing I have here is a meteor strike, which it said there, the stars from the heavens fall. And a lot of people think that this is some sort of meteor shower or something like that. Maybe, again, I firmly believe that we live in a flat, enclosed system, but that's me. You can choose to believe what you want. So perhaps it's some sort of hailstorm, and if you read in Revelation later on, a great hail falls from the sky. So perhaps that's the stars from heaven. The next picture I got here, of course, is the Flat Earth controversial card from the deck. Again, it says the heavens depart as a scroll when it is rolled up. Okay, well, if we are in fact in an enclosed system, what would be the surprise of people if they suddenly looked up one day and saw the sky part in half and begin to roll back like a dome, like a sports stadium dome that has them ones that roll back to let the sun in during the day. And I think that would be pretty surprising if suddenly the sky began to roll back like a dome and the heavens were exposed. I think that would definitely get people shocked. The next card here is Messiah, which obviously this is what they're waiting for. We're waiting for the Messiah, and the wicked people of earth are hiding in mountains and saying, Fall on us, hide us from his face. So they obviously see him at this point, which again goes back to the heavens rolling away. Last card I threw into here for this teaching, was this here. It says tape runs out, and you see here the earth is cracking in half. Looks like the end of the world. I like the little heading below. It says, when the rapture comes, I'll make them wait. They'll never clean my cage. Now give me some more of, and it says tape runs out. Good try. Too bad something went wrong. So I added it in there because it shows the end of the world currently. And then of course this guy's talking about the rapture here. So I hope you've enjoyed this teaching. I hope I've opened you up for some new ideas of how to look at the book of Revelation. And I hope you'll continue to enjoy more teachings that I put out. And I pray, if you don't know Jesus, ask him. If you don't know if he's real, ask him, are you real? Show me a sign that you're real. I promise you, he will. He wants, if you truly are sincere, he wants to come to you, okay? If he hasn't already. So this is Max signing out, and I'll see you soon.